to our look at the top 10 reasons to book a cruise holiday to Antarctica. The thought of going to the end of the world is one that for many seems like a distant dream, but is something that is becoming a reality for more and more of us. The reasons for that are not for a list such as this one, where we focus on the great experience cruisers can enjoy by visiting the southern polar region, and the reasons as to why you should visit Antarctica. No matter if you're an experienced cold weather cruiser who has visited the likes of the Norwegian Arctic or Alaska, or if you usually sail in the warm waters of the Caribbean or the Mediterranean, or maybe you have never even cruised before and are simply wanting a new experience, this is a list for you. So many people, including experienced cruisers, see Antarctica as almost a magical land that only those intrepid explorers of yesteryear, or those with unlimited wealth, can visit. And whilst both of those things certainly do help, it doesn't necessarily need to be the case. We cover why that is and so much more in this list. So as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe, and why not leave a comment below? I'd love to hear from you if you have visited Antarctica on a cruise. My name is Darren, and this is our look at the top 10 reasons to book a cruise to Antarctica. Your visit to Antarctica is the highlight of any Antarctic cruise, as you would expect. But there is so much more to it than your time on the southern continent. Most ships heading there will likely start to the north, in South America, where there are a few turnaround ports that are used. For those heading off on smaller expedition ships, the majority will start at the southern tip of Argentina, in the city of Ushuaia, while those setting off on board a mainstream line will most likely start in the Argentine capital of Buenos Aires or the Chilean capital of Santiago. Both are great places to explore before or after your cruise, but there are also plenty of incredible ports of call in the region, including Montevideo, Punta Arenas, the Falkland Islands and Puerto Madryn. On the face of it, crossing the 66th parallel is no different than sailing in any other part of the region. But there is always something special about crossing the Antarctic Circle. It is a reminder of just where you are sailing and the remoteness of where you are, and many lines will make it a special experience. It is a chance to take stock of just where you are and how lucky you are to be in such a place as Antarctica. As one of the last places on Earth for humans to visit and explore, those who risked their lives in the name of exploration have gone down in history. Names such as Scott, Shackleton, Hillary and Amundsen evoke a certain nostalgia of a past we cannot go back to. But something that those heading to Antarctica can do is gain a whole new understanding of the challenges that they faced. Although you will visit the region during the summer, and in often luxurious surrounds of your cruise ship, you will still get to see where those great explorers went, where they ran into difficulties, and the remoteness of where they had to survive. Those visiting the region will have to sail the infamous Drake's Passage, that at its best goes by the nickname of the Drake Lake, and at its worst, it goes by the moniker of the Drake Shake. If you are unfortunate enough to get the latter, no matter how big or luxurious your ship is, you will get first-hand experience of the dangers of heading to the most southern part of Earth. If you are wanting to have a more interactive experience of visiting the region, where you can leave your ship, head on shore and really immerse yourself in Antarctica, you will need to choose an expedition cruise line. Many people will likely think that they are all pretty much the same, and in a region such as Antarctica, you will simply need to choose the ship that sails when you want to visit there. And of course for a cost that you can afford. But there is so much more to it than that. There is a growing variety of expedition cruise lines operating in the area that can often be split into 3 different types: luxury ships, exploration ships and research vessels. Each offer a different type of adventure so that no matter what you want from your journey, you'll be able to do it. If you love all of the activities, attractions, entertainment and the space available on board mainstream cruise ships, but want to experience Antarctica, not only do you need not give that up, but with the variety of mainstream cruise lines offering itineraries there, the chances are you'll be able to sail on one of your favourite lines. Of course, the options cannot be compared to busy areas in North America and Europe, But if you tend to sail in more out of the way areas anyway, the variety does line up comparably well. This is something that I got to personally experience in the Arctic a few years back when we sailed to the top of Norway for the summer solstice. In Antarctica, it is in December when you need to visit to experience 24 hours of daylight, but as that is the main cruise season in the region, it's relatively simple to do so. If you've never experienced a midnight sun phenomenon, it is hard to describe, as you may just think of it as something that is a bit different, i.e. it's daylight when it should be dark, but there is something special about it that I just cannot quite describe, and that is something you should experience at least once. A visit to the region will be unforgettable, and something only a few people ever get to experience in their lifetime, and that for most of us, including me, is enough. If you really want to make it a journey to remember, and you have the funds to do so of course, there are several ships that offer incredible experience that will live long in the memory. These will be onboard smaller expedition cruise ships, but despite their size, you will likely be shocked at just what they offer. Amongst the experiences we came across during our research before booking our own adventure there, were ships with their own docking spaces offering the chance to head from the ship on kayaks, ships with their own scientific labs for those wanting a closer examination of where they are sailing, and ships with a helicopter so guests can take an aerial view of the glaciers, mountains and wildlife around them. The experience offered by a ship in Antarctica that both surprised and impressed us the most was one that offered its guests a chance to head under the waves on board its own submersible. There are many places in the world that you can visit once, and then the next time you go back there, maybe in a year's time for example, things have changed. There are quite a few places where they change dramatically depending on the time of year you visit them, and there are some places that you visit and you feel like it is nowhere else on earth. For the majority of those places, the next people to visit will feel the exact same way you do. But Antarctica is somewhere where you can experience a truly unique view. Everywhere on the continent is dynamic, from its ice melting, its wildlife roaming for its next meal, and its storms changing its landscape. When you look out from your balcony or from the top deck, that view is more than likely a view that will never be seen by a human again, and has likely never been seen before. The southern polar region is somewhere that I had always wanted to visit, but it's also somewhere where I thought I would never get to, as the cost had always seemingly been far out of the reach for my wife and me. That was until I was sat in a hotel room in North Yorkshire, scrolling through my emails and came across one from our favourite cruise line. It was announcing the next batch of cruise itineraries to be launched by the line, with the headline itineraries being 3 trips from Buenos Aires and sailing to Antarctica. There are a couple of things that grabbed my attention straight away. One was the fact that the journey was on board one of the line's bigger ships. I had always associated smaller ships with Cruise Antarctica, and also that the cost wasn't much more than we pay for a regular cruise. Now we do tend to do more adventurous cruises that often do come at a slightly higher cost than say the Mediterranean or a Caribbean itinerary, where there is a lot more competition, but still it's a very competitive cost. After doing some more research, we found another line with an even better offer, as we quickly understood that there are 2 separate types of cruises that go to the region. One is a more expedition style of cruise where you'll be able to land on the continent itself via zodiacs and enjoy time getting up close and personal to the wildlife found there, whilst the second type of cruise is a sail-by cruise, where you spend days sailing around the continent but never get the chance to go on land. You still get to see the incredible scenery, can spot the stunning wildlife from your ship and have an experience to remember, but without the bank-busting cost of an expedition trip. The landscapes of Antarctica are like nowhere else on Earth in terms of their grandeur, their ruggedness and the overall vastness that really cannot be understood until you are there in person. From icebergs the size of skyscrapers, glaciers the size of cities, and mountains that seemingly reach from the sea to the clouds, the scenery will live long in your memory. Even away from the more standout aspects of what you will see, the vast walls of ice, the rolling tundra, and the beautiful bays that you will visit leave you in awe and grabbing for your camera. This one may not top a list of your own, but for me, The biggest pull of the region is the incredible wildlife that you will likely be surrounded by when cruising in Antarctica. The waters around the continent are some of the most fertile on Earth and some of the least polluted, and with ships having to adopt strict rules while sailing there, Antarctica is one of the greatest places on Earth for wildlife watching from your cruise ship. From whales to seals and from orcas to penguins, all of those and so much more can be seen close to your ship as you cruise around Antarctica at almost walking speed. If you're fortunate enough to be on a cruise offering landings, you'll be able to get even closer to the inhabitants of the only continent without permanent human residence. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed our look at the top 10 reasons to visit Antarctica on a cruise ship, and see you next time.